Hey, I'm Stace and I've just spent about an hour and a half food prepping enough for my babes to take healthy lunchbox deliciousness for a good 2 to 3 weeks. Let me run you through the recipes. Let's get cooking.
All right, the first one I'm starting with is my berry slice. If you're new around here, welcome, but this berry slice is a game changer. Now, I go ahead and wash all of my fruit whenever I'm doing meal prep and my veggies. It just kind of sets it up for, cleanliness, and I don't need to do it later in the week. And it also means that I have loads on hand so I can just turn around and grab it. The recipe for this one is below. I've actually linked all of the recipes below. Most of them are from my awesome lunchbox ebook that you can grab, that you can actually follow these cook-ups with all of the instructions and have everything you need for a full week for 3 kids done in an hour. But this berry slice is awesome. And what I did different here is I just wanted to pack in some protein so that the babes are nice and full. So here I've just whacked in 2 scoops of protein, and I started off actually with an egg. The great thing is that everything can just go in the blender and do its thing. And because the peaches are delish at the moment, I went ahead and I want to make 2 of these. So these little slices are so much thinner than usual. So I have just greased my pan and I'm making 2 of these. Usually it's a lot thicker, but this actually worked out amazingly and the kids love it even more than usual. So on with some fresh peaches. And the second one that I do is with some berries. And I wanted to show you guys this because when things are in season and they're cheap, let's turn them into great lunchbox snacks, right? And also too, when you're grabbing berries and there's no great fruit that you can get cheap, you can be using the frozen stuff. I just push it all down really well. And that is a big key to making this gorgeous slice always work in the oven, is just push it down, cook that baby, and I tell you what, my house smells amazing. And that is the first one that I prepped. The reason that I prepped this first is whenever I'm thinking about lunch boxes, and I definitely run you through it in the ebook if you want to grab that, but whenever I'm doing these prep sessions is I'm like, okay, so what is going to take the longest time? And that's anything in the oven versus quick time. And then also I like to think about it in terms of my blender. So I haven't cleaned this baby out and I'm going to make some berry bliss balls. And the great thing about these is that I have nearly all the same ingredients of what I just used there in that slice, so I don't need to be cleaning it out. In it goes, I'm using frozen raspberries, but of course you can use fresh, and they're quite cheap in summer at the moment here in Sydney. I love this. Look at the colour of it. I always, with this, I get my hands in there for the very first one and be like, is this sticking together? Look, it did a little bit, but I want this to be really, really thin and small and it not to be like a chunky texture. So I have just gone ahead and blended it a bit further. And then I use my little cool cookie spoon. Oh my gosh, I love that. I'll link it below actually. Let me know if you want that. I grabbed it on Amazon and it's an awesome one that can just measure out these bliss balls perfectly. I mean, look at this. It just makes it so simple. If you wanted to cut down on ball rolling time, it's not a word I've ever thought that I would use. You can turn this into a slice and then just chop it up. Talking of slices, I am using that dirty Thermomix bowl and making a Wheat Bix slice. I actually used some gluten-free Wheat Bix and some standard Wheat Bix. I was interested to see how they went. It works amazing. The glue that kind of holds this slice together is some dates, and you can see just there off to the side that I soak those. When you soak your dates in water, it'll make them soft and it acts as like an egg replacer. But I love getting these dates in because they actually also have a hit of protein, but they're such high in fiber. I'm getting in a fruit and it's just something a bit different, which is always what I'm after in the variety for my babes. I just made sure it was blended really, really well. And if it holds together now, it's going to hold together as a slice, right? So in that goes to a dish and I get that into the freezer. And that's kind of my thought process here is going, okay, like what needs to set in the freezer and then what can be made really quick and will be ready to go. And that's something, the next one for me was some beef mince. So I visit the free range butcher. They're a great ethical butcher here that sells a lot of Sydney markets, and they have a full fat, they call it burger mince, and it makes the most delicious mince here. And so what I've done is I've just whacked in a whole heap of my taco seasoning, and this is going to be ripper for the kids for actual lunches. So what I do for their lunch boxes is I'll heat this up in the morning just here in a saucepan, just like how I'm cooking it now, and then I'll whack that into a thermos. I'll send the babes with some corn chips and they just feel like they're winning at life. But you could absolutely stir it through some pasta, any of those things. While that mince is cooking, I'm moving on to really quick things, and these are my fermented carrots. I make these every week using a probiotic pill. It is such a simple hack with a little bit of salt to have them ready to go. They'll take about 2 to 3 days. And then where I'm on to a bit more of the main meals, because I feel like with lunchbox prep, we often forget about, well, what's the main meal, right? It's not always just a sandwich. But today it is a toasty, and I'm using up the last of my ham from Christmas, and I was slicing all that up and then putting a whole heap of beautiful pesto. Don't worry, in my lunchbox ebook, I teach you how to make this nut-free. And then I go on with my cheese, and then I'm going to top with some ham, and then come on, let's be honest, it is always about the melted cheese in a toasty, so I add another layer. The great thing about these is you can actually freeze them. So I am making up a whole, yeah, I mean it, like a whole loaf of bread with these toasties. And I just put the lid on, and then I put them back in that plastic bag and I freeze them. I cook them from frozen whenever I'm making those with the toasties. It is such an awesome hack. I love having these on hand, and let's be honest, mum and dad, you know, an easy dinner is definitely a toasty with some veggies on the side. The last bit of my lunchbox prep is just some fresh fruit for the week. Now, all of this stuff is freezable, obviously, except for the watermelon, but I wanted to show you this would have taken me just over an hour, and it will do my 3 babes for at least 2 weeks, I would say, with these, because I supplement it then with easy things like some cut up celery and hummus, right? I often send my guys with some avocado oil potato chips for lunch, or some popcorn and things like that that I don't have to necessarily prep, but I love giving them a wholesome, really nourishing little bake snack.
How good is lunchbox prep? I'm feeling like a rock star counting this up. I've got 3 babes, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got at least 2 weeks worth of great food here for them. I've got my awesome lunches sorted, and then I've got some really wholesome, high protein, real food, little snacks that I can put with things like fruit and veg and hummus as well. Be sure to check out all the recipes below. I've linked them there, and grab my lunchbox ebook. It has all of these recipes in it, and I've actually grouped them together into these awesome cook-alongs. So you get a 1-hour prep guide, and there's 4 of them. So if you are like me and we don't have lots and lots of time, but you can give 1 hour a week to have whole food, real lunchboxes for your babes, you will love this ebook. It is linked below. And I will
See you on the next video. Like and subscribe.
Look at that. Oh, off to the freezer I go.